Borussia Dortmund's victory today against Paderborn, where one man stole the show, Craig. Jadon Sancho with the hat-trick. A man who we discussed actually a lot over the last few days on this programme after Delaney's comments about him, whether or not mentally he was ready for all the pressure of being regarded as one of the best in the world. Well, it was a pretty nice answer in the second half today.
Yeah, I don't think he's there yet. He's certainly one of the best youngsters in world football, but you know that's sort of where it ends. He's still got a long way to go, as talented as he is. Look, I think when you look at a player's body language, you look at performances, you take into account his age and what kind of games he's played in. I don't think there's any shortage of belief in Jadon Sancho about where he's going to go. There's no shortage of confidence. You may call it arrogance, but players are confident. You know, the players of his talent are super confident. And whilst the first 45 minutes was actually a giant bore and he didn't perform particularly well, things just opened up for him. And, you know, as the space opened up, he utilised his pace, he utilised his finishing. The first one was laid on a plate for him by Julian Brandt. But again, he's got 17 goals now. He's in with the assists as well. But it all just come a bit too late, Dan, for Borussia Dortmund, because it seemed after last week's defeat to Bayern Munich that the stuffing had been knocked out of them. And it's all very well beating the Paderborns of this world, who are bottom of the league, 6-1 away from home. But really and truly, the big performance was needed last week when, of course, he wasn't deemed fit enough to play from the start and only saw him for the second 45 minutes. But today, a big performance from him and their quest for getting in the Champions League, because that's what they're fighting for now.
Craig, we talked about it, didn't we, after the defeat against Bayern Munich? Hindsight, of course, a wonderful thing, but given what he did in the second half here, you were right, weren't you? He should have started in that game against Bayern. Well,
as I say, it's a bit different doing it against a Paderborn team who are bottom of the league and who've opened up, and they've just given a goal away for Hazard when it was a mistake from the goalkeeper. And then things just start to unravel as they do when you're a struggling side. Look, would he have made a difference playing from the start? I don't know, Dan, but I would like to have seen, and Jan Fjotov, our colleague, talked about it, bringing Chan back in for his experience, bringing Sancho in for his pace. Lucien Favre decided not to do that, and ultimately they didn't get the result.
Frank, Jadon Sancho becoming the youngest player ever in the history of the Bundesliga to make it to 30 goals. How highly do you rate him?
Well, not at the best, and as Craig said, he's not there yet, but definitely a future of football. He shows his talents. He have to be more consistent, that's for sure. But having statistics that he has, you already have to be at a good, very, very good level. I'm waiting a little bit more from him. I'm waiting, for more from him, because I want to see more consistency again. When you see the awful first half that he showed us today, with the fantastic second half that he was able to score 3 goals, show that he needs to improve a little bit his performances mentally wise, I think. But definitely a future that we have to follow. And I think if I have an advice, if I may, maybe if he listens to us, is grow a little bit more in a very good club before going somewhere else when the pressure will be bigger and bigger. I think about Manchester United, where it was going to come for more than 100 million euros or pounds, and have a pressure of a star where I presume is not yet. And maybe he can grow up more for 1 more years to make sure that he can stand to any pressure in the world.
It's interesting advice, isn't it, Shaq? Because Manchester United, if I were them, I'd want to get it done now when the market is very much a buyer's market. You give Sancho another season at Dortmund, who knows how much more he can grow. And of course, then he can attract, no offence to Manchester United, clubs that are really fighting for titles, be it domestically or the Champions League as well. So if you're Jadon Sancho, you're pretty much holding all the cards at the moment. What would you do?
I'm with Frank in that maybe he can stay at Borussia Dortmund for another season or two, and then it opens up a whole lot more options for him. The issue is, and just to counter what Frank was saying, I mean, we can't really be criticizing a 20-year-old for showing a lack of consistency. He's 20 years old. It comes with the territory. And other than Kylian Mbappe, I'm not sure that world football has seen someone at that age play at that level and with any kind of of consistency or greater consistency than we're seeing from Jadon Sancho right now. The beauty of it for Jadon Sancho from his perspective is that there's no wrong answer to this. You can move to one of world football's big clubs who maybe has been underperforming over recent seasons in Manchester United, back into an environment that you know and you're comfortable with, and you know you will thrive, and Manchester United will give you the opportunities and the platform to be at your very best. Or you can do exactly the same at Borussia Dortmund. If you continue in the vein that you have been over the last 18 months, 2 years, you know that the biggest clubs in world football, regardless of who they are and where they are and where they play, will all be knocking at your door, and then you can play them off against each other. That's a good place to be in for a 20-year-old, consistent or not.
What do you think, Craig?
Yeah, I'm inclined to think another 12 months will not do him any harm at Borussia Dortmund for a couple of reasons, and the boys have touched on most of them. But the other reason is he's very much in the forefront of Gareth Southgate's mind for the Euros. Now, obviously, the Euros have been pushed back a year, which means going into next summer's tournament, he really has to be playing regular. Now, I'm not saying if he goes to a Man United or even a Liverpool or somewhere like that, he won't play, but he might, and there's always a question mark, he might not play as regular depending on form. I mean, United, even within the constraints of their financial budgets because of this pandemic, will still go out and beef up that squad, you would imagine, as will Liverpool. These are the kind of clubs that will be looking at Jadon Sancho. So, you know, getting playing time becomes more difficult sometimes when you make that move. But as the boys have said, he's almost guaranteed, when fit, to be playing regular and flourishing in the Bundesliga with Dortmund. And with the Euros coming up next year, he's at the forefront of Gareth Southgate's mind whilst he is playing. And that's a big decision for a young man to make.
The other side of that same coin, Craig, is that with the Euros, speaking of the Euros, not just about playing, but if he is and does for Gareth Southgate and lights the Euros up, then all of a sudden the floodgates open, as we discussed before.
Last point on this for you, Frank.
I'm ready to hold back or to get back to what I said about the consistency to please Shaka, because it's true. I've been a little bit harsh on Jadon because he's young. It's true. But when I see Mbappe, every time I see Mbappe, it's true that I see something special, even if he's not in a good in his best. So it's why I've been a little bit harsh on Sancho. But just one thing, really. I don't talk about the history of the two clubs. When I compare Manchester United, because we are thinking about Jadon Sancho going to Manchester United, and Borussia Dortmund, of course, in the history of the two clubs, Manchester United is far way better. But nowadays, is it better to play for Dortmund or is it better to play for Manchester United? Football-wise, I'm asking you. I don't give you the answer.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.